Welcome, fans and collectors. This is Marvel on DC 379 with another review, and today we'll be looking at the DC Signature Collection Huntress. So, this line is a DC toy line that's very similar to DC Universe Classics, except it's more of an online exclusive line. And while Huntress is one figure I wanted and the rest of the DC Signature Collection because I really like the DC Signature Collection figures. So enough of that, let's get into the package. So there's that really nice bold Signature Collection. I really like that font. It's just really nice, that blue, the white. And here's the figure in the window, and I love the explosion background if you could see, like boom. And there's the figure, Huntress, and her crossbow, and her name, Huntress. It says adult collector at the bottom, but I still think kids can play with this. I don't see why not. DC Comics right there, and I really like the page turning effect. And there's the artwork of Huntress. DC Signature Collection again, and there's not a lot here except warning small parts. Here's the back, DC Signature Collection again, Huntress. So here's her bio. Real name, Helena Bertinelli. Despite being raised in polar opposite situations, Huntress and another Gotham City orphan would up having a lot in common. The daughter of a notorious criminal, Helena Bertinelli declared war on the underworld after witnessing the mob-ordered slaying of her entire family. Armed with her crossbow, Huntress enforced justice in Gotham City. And though Batman sometimes found her to be too violent and unpredictable, Huntress always proved herself and even saved the Dark Knight's life. Batman eventually embraced her as a reliable member of his crime-fighting family. So, Huntress is a very interesting character. I've always liked her, especially she's part of the Batman family, and she's kind of a wild card, kind of like Red Hood Jason Todd. So that's enough of packaging. Now let's get into the figure. And here is Huntress out of packaging. And I've always liked this look for the Huntress. You can automatically tell this is Huntress from her costume. And I've always liked how consistent the color scheme is. Like, it's mostly purple and there's black on her chest and her legs, and there's trims of white like on her chest and around her cape, which looks very nice. And I really like the cape, the sculpting, the creases makes it kind of realistic in a sense. And I've always liked how the pouches are asymmetrical, like the left and right one. And on her hips there's more pouches here while there's not as much pouches here. And I wanted to make note of something, like these bits on her cape, the crescent shape, they look a little different from the packaging. Like, if you notice, they're in the opposite direction. See? Or sometimes, see? They're in that direction again. However, I did look it up for references, and sometimes the crescent bits, they go either direction, so technically it would be accurate either way. And I've always liked the belt buckle, the little gold detail right there in the center, which is very nice, and it has the same color on the crests. So it really breaks up the whole black, purple, and white color scheme. And just like before, I noticed that the belt buckle is a different color on the packaging as well. Like on this, it's purple. This one's gold, and I had to look it up again for references, and they come in different colors. I even saw one with a blue belt buckle, but Huntress is a superhero. Comic book characters, there's always variations, changes to details, or just flat out different costumes. So there's bound to be, some significant alterations here and there. So let's take a look at the head sculpt. It's one of the better looking female head sculpts because when it comes to female action figures, especially their head sculpts, they can be hit or miss. This is one of the better ones. I especially like the way her mask is, and the color of her lips are dark colored, and her expression is a bit indifferent, if that's the best way I can describe it. And her hair is nicely sculpted. I like how they're curled up, which is really nice, and they look very nice with a little sculpted detail to make it more realistic. So I really do like that. Now, moving on into articulation. Ball jointed head, but because of the hair, it does hinder it, so you're not going to get a lot of up and down, just side to side at most. Hinged shoulders, there's a bicep swivel, there's a hinge elbow, but that's as far as you can get. Swivel wrist, there's I think it's a ball jointed torso. Nothing for the waist. The DC Universe Classics hip joint, so it can go in and out and forward and back. There is a swivel right here. It can bend, but there's only one hinge. It's not like a double hinge knee. And a hinge ankle, but no rockers. So really decent articulation. It's nothing too spectacular, but you get what you get, and you can get decent poses out of this figure. So she only has one accessory, but she only needs one accessory anyway. Her iconic crossbow, her weapon of choice hunting down criminals. And I really like the color of it. It looks like a metallic purple, which looks absolutely fantastic, and it's incredibly detailed. And I had to look it up again if this color is accurate. Well, her crossbows sometimes come in different colors like black and gray. If this is accurate or not, either way, it does look nice, and it does match with her outfit anyway. And it's very easy to put it in her hand. Just slide it in. And it's very easy to do two-handed poses. Oops, I dropped that. Let me get it again. There we go. Yeah, so you can have her in two-handed poses. And you can technically have it in this other hand too, because they're sculpted the same way, so you can have her hold it in either hand. But the only downside is that because how small her hands are and how big this weapon is, it does expand her arm a bit, so be careful if you ever do get this figure. But seriously, I really do like this crossbow, because if you know me, I've always preferred melee weapons from knives, swords, even brass knuckles. But something about crossbows I've always liked as a ranged weapon for some reason. And it does have the bolt, which is the technical term for arrows specifically made for crossbows. And it's very nicely detailed. You could see it at the top of the crossbow right there. Okay, so that's enough of that. Let's move on into size comparisons. So here is Huntress with her ally Batman, and they look absolutely great together. And she is a bit shorter by her head, including the mask bits, so she is a little smaller than male figures. And here is Huntress with DC icon Supergirl and DC Comics Multiverse Katana. Katana and Huntress are the exact same size, so Huntress will go well with a lot of DC Universe Classics, Multiverse, DC Signature figures. Supergirl is a bit taller by a head, but otherwise, I really do think Huntress fits well with the other female figures. And why not, here's Huntress with Hawkeye because they're both purple colored archer superheroes. And they're about the same exact height. So my final thoughts, to be completely honest, I like this figure more than I thought I would. I mean, at first glance, it's not very detailed, but looking at it in hand, it's very detailed, especially some parts of her costume. And her articulation really blew me away. And possibly the only bad thing I would say about this figure is that when you have her hold the accessory, it does stretch out her hand. So you gotta be careful with that, so it's not stretched to the point that she can't hold her weapon anymore. So this has been it, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.